Hi guys, this is a video about putting in a sleep routine. So obviously our children and young people have maybe been out of a bit of a sleep routine for the last 6 months, so I'm thinking that as we are leading up to going back to school, which is not quite yet, we want to have a plan in place to get our children back into the sleep routine, which will really help them with the going back to school routine itself. So, and also it's good for them to be rested when they're working during the day at school and playing. Okay, so the first thing that I would recommend when it comes to putting in a sleep routine when you've been out of one is be mentally ready. So it is difficult to change habits. Children won't want to go to bed early. So to implement a sleep routine, we have to be mentally ready and think, yeah, we are going to power through with this and we are going to do it. So have a time in your head of when that is going to happen. And the reason I'm doing this video quite earlier in the summer holiday is so that you can have time to do that. So if your child is particularly difficult to get into a routine, you would want to start earlier. If your child is actually okay with the routine, you might want to just wait until the final week of the holiday before you start putting the early bed times back in. So judge it by your child and judge it by yourself as well, how much time you will need to get a new plan in place. And when you've decided when you are going to put the sleep routine back in, prepare your children as well. So you will say to them, okay, from next week you are going to go to bed at whatever time. So you will bring the time down, and I would recommend phasing it phasing the earlier times in. So if your child has been going to bed at 11 o'clock, you would say from next week we are going to bed at 10 o'clock. And then a couple of days later you would bring it to 9:30 and bring it to 9 and phase it down. So if your children have been going to bed quite late, you might want to start this a bit earlier. Start the routine a bit earlier. Prepare your children, tell them that this is what's going to happen from next week. They'll moan about it, oh, I don't want to do it. That's alright, because it's still going to happen. So you prepare them that this is the new plan. An example of a sleep routine for young children, so I'm thinking primary age, maybe as they're coming to the top end of primary age, year 5 and year 6, you would tweak it and do it a little bit different. But a good routine is a bath or a shower, a story or a song, or a couple of stories, a couple of songs, whatever you want to do for that lovely nurturing time before they go to sleep, and then sleep. So if that happens every day, your children will learn that routine, their body will learn that routine, their subconscious will learn that routine, and it will become peaceful and easy. That's not going to happen straight away. That's probably not going to happen even in the first few days or the first week. If it is a brand new thing for them, they will kick up against it. But stick with it, because it's a lovely routine. You're not forcing them to do something horrible, and it's really good for them to do. So a bath or a wash, a shower, whatever you choose to do, and then something lovely. So for older children, it might just be you get into bed next to them and you just have a chat. You might chat about whatever they want to talk about. They might still like a story. I'm just thinking, my daughter, when she was year 5, she liked a bit of a story. There would obviously be books for older children. So something lovely though, something that the 2 or 3 or however many children you have, something that you are going to do together to get them nice and settled, ready for sleep. The sleep part is often the difficult bit. So this is where children might kick up against the plan and not want to go to sleep. They might be getting out of their bed, they might be following you wherever you're going. Children will need a little, if they're not used to it, they will need some support with this. So as tempting and as natural as it sometimes feels to say go to bed, get to sleep, that's never going to work. It will heighten their stress and anxiety, and that's never a good place to start when it comes to relaxing and going to sleep. So we need to stay calm and we need to stay positive. We need to not be angry with them, as frustrating as it is, and they will need a little bit of support. So this is an example of the support you can give if your child is not wanting to settle in their bed because they are attachment seeking. They're basically seeking you out because they don't want to be separate from you. So first of all, you will probably need to lie with them until they go to sleep. People will often say, oh, you're making a rod for your own back, that's not good for children, it's not ever going to get them into a sleep routine of going to sleep independently. That isn't true. They just need a little bit of help in the beginning, like with anything. Any skill that we need to learn it gradually. We don't suddenly become an expert at something, and it's exactly the same kind of thing when it comes to embedding a new routine of any kind. So you might need to sleep with them until they fall asleep for the first however many times. And judging your children, this will give you a bit of a heads up of how soon you need to start preparing for this. If you are happy to be sleeping with your children as we go into the new school year in September, brilliant, that's fine. But if in your mind you think, actually no, by September I want them to be able to go to sleep independently and I want to be able to go downstairs, watch a bit of TV, have a bit of time for yourself, you'd want to start it earlier. So it's just however you want to do it. So when your child is falling asleep peacefully and you're thinking, actually they're falling asleep really quickly now with me just lying beside them, you want to phase that out a little bit. So to create that independence, they're nice and relaxed and they're falling asleep beautifully. The next night you might say to them, I'm going to lie with you while you go to sleep, and because you're so brilliant at it now, you get so relaxed, tomorrow I'm going to lie next to you for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go and potter around and do a few jobs upstairs, or if you're on one level, just in the other room, so you're still close by and they can still hear you pottering around. It's quite reassuring to know that you're still there, but you are not having to actually stay with them. So you will still be in the vicinity, they can still hear you and they still feel secure, and let them fall asleep that way. When that's established and when they're doing that really, really well, you're going to phase it out a little bit more. So you'd lie with them for a few minutes, potter around upstairs, but then you might nip downstairs potter around upstairs or wherever you are near them, but then you might nip to the kitchen, or you might just say, I'm just going to nip downstairs, and then you come back up. So they know that you are coming back, they know that you're still around, and they can fall to sleep securely. When that's established, you want to phase it out a little bit more. So you would nip downstairs or into your own space for longer bursts. So you might just say, I'm going to go make a cup of tea, and I'll be back when I've done that. Your children might be asleep by the time you get back because they know that you're going to come back. So you're just phasing yourself away from your child. The next step would be to tuck your child up, potter around for a few minutes upstairs, and then you'd go downstairs and you'd say, I'll come and check on you in 5 minutes, and do that, stick to it. So you go and check on them in 5 minutes, and then you go downstairs and you might say, I'm going to come and check on you again in 15 minutes, and often they're asleep by that point. And then the next step is you go downstairs, you tuck them up, you might potter for a few minutes, or you might just go straight downstairs because they are well established in that routine and they feel secure, they know you're around. It completely depends on your child and their needs and their personality, how long that phasing out will take. We just have to be patient with them, and we have to just stick with it. Some children, you could do all of those steps in a week. Some children, you might do all of those steps in 3 months. But I do think it's important to establish that independent sleeping and that feeling safe to go to sleep. I think we do have to phase out that attachment seeking that they do. It's perfectly normal. Why wouldn't they want to be with you? Why wouldn't they want you to be there when they're going to sleep? So it's nice to do that, but also create that independence as well. So it's not going to happen straight away. We're not going to put in a bath, story, bed, see you later, going downstairs, it's all good, if they're not used to it. Some children will, but a lot of them will need the support first, and it's kind of our role to give it. I think I've already said this, but I'll just reiterate, be as pleasant and calm and peaceful as you can be, even if you're frustrated on the inside, for your own benefit, because the more peaceful we are and the more calm we are, the easier your child will go to sleep. The more stressed we are, the more angry we get, the more awake your child becomes, and the more stressed your child becomes, and it takes longer. I know it's hard, I have been there. So yeah, we just have to power through with that. In the final week, I've done another recording about the final week preparations for any children who are anxious about going back to school. In the final week, I would recommend getting your children up early as well. So you've got your bedtime routine in place, but you might start to phase in them getting up a bit earlier. And in the last few days, you might want to phase in getting dressed when they get up. So they get up, have their breakfast, clean their teeth, wash their face, get dressed and go somewhere, whether it's to the park or shopping or whatever. But they're actually getting up for a reason, you know, just to kind of reawaken that getting up for school routine thing. But we don't have to think about that just yet. And I'm just looking at my notes to see if there's anything else that I need to tell you. I don't think that is, and the last thing I have put on my notes is just to be as positive as you can about this. Cheerlead your children, tell them that they can do it, that they're doing really well, praise them along the way. Make your bedtime routine lovely, make your breakfast time routine lovely, make it a happy time, and your children will fall in line much quicker and much more peacefully. So good luck, and I will catch you later. Bye bye.